Internet is full of excitement about Kubernetes for managing cloud environments. When conditions are met, yes, it simplifies many aspects, but still many companies are moving to Kubernetes prematurely without meeting all conditions. It costs them time, money, and developer frustration at the end. I help you answer the question when and why you need Kubernetes in this video broadcast. Let's start asking it, what can Kubernetes do? Kubernetes is an orchestration tool for containerized applications. It is responsible for deploying images and containers, managing the scaling of containers and clusters, balancing resources for containers and clusters, and traffic management for services. When you have an application which consists of multiple services running in different containers with strict service level agreements, Kubernetes makes life easier. For a monolithic application with static user base, it is the question we need to ask. Now, we talked about the journey from monolith app to microservices as traffic grows, and let's see when Kubernetes will come to the picture. When an entire application in one place, it is quick and easy to make and deploy changes, but when your business starts growing, you will need to find ways to scale it. There is a delusion about scaling. It is more about application design constraints and principles. Tools themselves cannot solve the scaling problems. Is your application stateful or stateless? Can your database scalable to respond to data growth? Are you employing caching? Those questions should be answered first. Actually, you can start scaling your monolith application by deploying multiple instances with load balancer that supports Affinity. As you start scaling your monolith app, you need to start considering configuration management tools like Chef and Ansible. They will help teams to prepare development, test, and production environments by means of code execution. It will speed up computing resource preparation, eliminates human errors and delays. In order to use bare metal server more efficiently, Terraform can be also used to provision virtual machines. Database may be bottleneck when your traffic starts growing. Employing caching with in-memory key-value database, splitting read and write loads to different database servers with replication, or using SQL proxy will decrease the pressure on database. Apart from infrastructure as code, good CI/CD pipeline is also must. You can copy a zip file to your server via FTP in your first-time deployments, but that approach will never scale. A streamlined CI/CD pipeline ensures that your application is built, tested, and deployed automatically, without any extra work from your team. When the volume of development and operational work reaches the limit of single development team's capacity due to business growth, it also signals that monolith app is also near the limits. Consider adding new services that supplement your monolith application instead of starting from scratch. Some of these services may be microservices, so you can benefit from using small services while still leveraging the benefit of monolith. Introducing microservices does not necessarily mean that you are ready to move Kubernetes environment. Kubernetes performs well at running and scaling pods of microservice containers. There are some critical aspects that are must for production loads, such as authentication, authorization, role-based access, and information security. Kubernetes does not include robust, built-in tools for securing pods, nodes, and clusters. Deploying Kubernetes clusters across a multi-cloud environment is also an issue. That's why there are commercial flavors like OpenShift in the market to address those difficulties for enterprises. Using, for example, AWS Fargate as serverless container orchestration can make easier to spin up and scale services by eliminating the need of Kubernetes cluster management. You can execute fast-running tasks on AWS Lambda as function as service by avoiding infrastructure management overhead when adding new services to your monolith app. Moreover, if you eventually need Kubernetes cluster, It can be enhanced with functional service capabilities. By starting with a mixture of services and functions, the migration to Kubernetes will be less complicated. If you reach the point where many helper services around your monolith app need to talk to each other, you have to make sure services that depend on each other are always running and visible to each other. In addition, now your business is demanding the uptime and resiliency that make you consider running it across multiple availability zones. When above conditions are required to meet, you probably need Kubernetes to define the pods of related services, scale automatically, and apply load balancing between them. In order to get most from Kubernetes, your capacity requires running many virtual machines. We have experienced staff to do configuration and maintenance of Kubernetes cluster. You have many services to run together. Due to number of required services in running state, you need automation to achieve homogeneous service deployment. You want to be cloud or hosting provider agnostic. Kubernetes has built-in support for high available deployments to increase application reliability and availability. But it takes time and engineering resources to create and manage clusters, define pods, and create containerized applications suitable for deployment to Kubernetes. If business is big enough to benefit from Kubernetes, the administrative overhead is worth it. Kubernetes is not right choice for every team and every application. It is made to solve a certain set of problems, as we tried to explain. If you aren't facing the problems Kubernetes aims to solve, it will only bring the trouble to your operations. That's why Kubernetes should justify its place. Thank you for listening.